Hello, today I am here with two elite athletes. One, a principal ballerina, and the other, a professional golfer. We're here to just talk about their journey, why they've chosen Body Balance Institute as a choice for helping them to hone their sport and their career, and some of the things that have happened along the way with what we do to help them become the best that they can be.
My name is Morgan Brown Sanborn, and I am a professional ballerina with the Florida Ballet.
Hi, my name is Vince India. I play golf on the PGA Tour.
So I'm going to start with you, Vince, just asking you some questions about your journey as a golfer and kind of how you got started in the sport, and then what types of fitness regimens have you done, and in the end, what led you to these types of things?
Sure, yeah. I started playing golf when I was 9 or 10. My dad introduced me to the game, and I picked up golf just because I wasn't very good at any other things, and I was such a small kid, so I kind of went with it from there and went to go play college golf at Iowa. Had a decent career there, and then decided to make the jump to professional golf in 2011. And 10 years later, we're still here playing. So that's kind of how the road's gone. And to answer your other question, what I've done fitness-wise, I've tried it all. In college, we had a coach and a strength coach, and we didn't really do anything golf specific. It was a lot of cardio.
Just traditional fitness.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, more of it was we would run and do stairs just for your mental strength more than anything, that you can like physically complete a workout and beat yourself up and get through it. So it's
like,
yeah,
pretty much like boot camp kind of.
It was.
Workout.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't very fun, but it made us better, but in a different aspect. So
sure.
Once I got out of college, I hired a golf specific trainer. So that it started incorporating functional fitness for golf specific activities and movements. And then most recently, I've been branching out into other types of activities, like I've dabbled in yoga here and there, functional range conditioning, and then most recently, I've adopted Pilates, a very rigorous Pilates routine.
You also, I don't think you'd ever done gyrotonic before, right? Before you came to the studio?
No, this is my first introduction to gyrotonic.
That was another journey for you, right?
Yeah, I love gyrotonic. I never knew it existed until we got here, and when I passed your studio and figured I thought I'd give it a shot and see what you guys had going on in here. But I was very pleased, and I think it's very applicable for what I do in my sport. So I really like what gyrotonic has to offer for me.
What kinds of things in your sport do you think all of these things, Pilates, gyrotonic, I think we've done some melt too. Mm-hmm. Like, what types of things in your sport has it been the most beneficial for? I
think like just one-on-one work with you and me, that we're really good at approaching this holistically. Like, we start by calming the nervous system, making sure everything's kind of starting from ground zero. It's like a blank slate for the day, and I think that's very important for any approach to any type of physical training. But
especially for golf, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah. But then once we get on the reformer, I think it's awesome for golf-related activities, because I'm trying to keep like the majority of my trunk very stable while moving all these other independent parts. I think once we get in the studio, we're really able to work on all those things, and then also the concept of getting longer too, and just kind of spreading out from your limbs.
Yeah.
It's super helpful for me on the golf course too.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've watched your posture change tremendously. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, and you should have seen it a couple years ago too. It was, but and like I say, every day I come in here, I get a little bit better. I grow just a little bit taller, possibly. So I love it every time I come in here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you definitely take the work and take it very seriously. I mean, and take it out into. I mean, it's obvious because I don't get to see you. Mm-hmm. Maybe as much because you're out on playing and on these tours, but every time I see you, you're a little bit different and better, and so you obviously take it seriously.
I do.
Yeah.
I try to do something basic at home. If I don't have access to a reformer or some private training, I'll have like a little routine I go through, or even then we have access to a virtual studio with the gym that we belong to in Chicago, so I can pop in and look at a video, do a 30-minute quick session.
That's awesome.
And that's just one way for me to kind of keep going through my journey here.
Great, great. Let's talk to Morgan a little bit about her world as a professional ballerina, as a principal ballerina for the Florida Ballet. And what has your journey been like, and kind of where did it start along the way, and when did you decide you wanted to do that?
So I started dancing when I was 3. My babysitter's daughter was very into dance, and I was wanted to follow in her footsteps, basically. I danced growing up, knew from about the age of 7 that I wanted to do this professionally. I was very determined. Went to Point Park University in Pittsburgh, got my BFA in dance from there, and then auditioned and wound up at Portland Ballet in Maine. I was there for about 4 years. Went to a ballet company in Romania, in Sibiu. Then was back in Portland, and then at Nevada Ballet, and City Ballet of Boston.
The life of a dancer.
Yeah, all over the place.
It really is.
Until I came here.
Typical.
Yeah.
And what brought you here? How did you end up here?
So the current director of the Florida Ballet, Roberto Forleo, worked as the conservatory director of the pre-professional director up in Portland. And so our paths crossed there, and then about 5 years later, he called me and said, I need you to come audition. I'm taking over as artistic director for the Florida Ballet. And that was in February, right before COVID. And I came down and auditioned and got the job and moved down here in August of 2020.
You got to experience the next
Yes.
journey.
The next city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I recall, you also have done other sports when you were growing up, right? Tell us a little bit about that, and also about kind of your determination to become a professional, because that was another story that I thought was really interesting about how people tried to kind of
Push back.
yeah, give you advice. How about that? Yeah.
So I grew up in a sports family. Everyone's a coach. My parents are both coaches. My brother is a coach. My aunts and uncles are coaches.
Advice.
So baseball was the name of the game. I played a lot of field hockey. That's the only one I played all the way through high school. I played softball, ran track.
That's pretty unusual, I think,
Yeah.
for somebody in ballet, right?
Yeah, my parents really believed in being a 3-sport athlete because they believed in cross-training. So I played field hockey a lot, and I think for a long time that was my cross-training until I got to college and was introduced to Pilates because it was an elective for dancers, and that's where I found Pilates and fell in love with it, and wound up, as soon as I got a professional contract, finding a Pilates studio in the same city so that I could cross-train with that. But I always did a lot of things, yoga, running, just many things.
Yeah. Do you think that that's made a difference in your ability to, it seems like, you know, a lot of dancers don't have a very long shelf life, and golfers too, right?
That's true.
All professional athletes, right? So do you feel like it actually made a difference because you cross-trained and because you were creative and tried a lot of different things? Yeah, as far as where you are today.
I think it changes your longevity, for sure. I think it changes what you know about your body and what you learn about, like for me, the different roles come with a different like amount of physicality. So sometimes you need a ton of stamina that's at a really high like cardio rate. Sometimes you need more, like it's gonna be slow, but the stamina is trying to hold things. And that allows you to train specifically for what the roles are going to be, just knowing what helps you.
Yeah. And so you have to be versatile. Like as a dancer, you have to be versatile. Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering, like golf and ballet, like, you know, what do you both feel like, maybe even with this kind of work, the type of work that we do in here, are there sort of crossovers for what you do, just in your sports?
I'm curious if you find Pilates difficult, because it seems like as a ballerina, this would come very naturally to you. When I first got on a reformer, at least my experience, I was like very awkward and I felt lost at times. Like I'm looking around the room, just kind of, oh boy, everyone is extremely good at this and I have no idea what I'm doing. But
you didn't look that way, just so you know.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering
It was foreign.
Does it seem difficult to you, or did you find yourself like challenged at first?
I was definitely challenged at first. I think it stays challenging if you're doing it correctly. That would be.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Yeah. It just reaches another level of challenging.
Yeah, I think dancers can probably be a little bit more in touch with the intrinsic muscles than maybe some athletes. I know,
what I was wondering, exactly.
From playing sports, that sometimes you don't think about your core as much as you probably should.
Yeah, and I think I guess a lot of the trainers in our sport are kind of concerned with like very like the superficial muscles, like stuff on top. But once you get on the reformer here or the gyrotonic table, like you start unlocking and using things like you don't really use before. And that's when I think you start seeing some, improvements over, for me at least, onto the golf course in your practice, where you can practice longer, you're not fatigued as easily, and you're just you're not as sore the next day as well. So that's kind of what I've gathered from all my practice here as well.
Yeah. It makes things easier.
It does. I find myself like not struggling to walk upright every now and then too. Like honestly, like throughout the day, if I'm walking the golf course 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week, depending on the terrain, I'll just slowly start like falling into this posture a whole bunch. But whenever I come back and do some decent Pilates routines, throughout the week I'll be able to like hold myself up a little bit better, and I'll find myself a little bit less fatigued, which is
And that
wonderful.
is the truth. Like to
huge.
have good posture is a lot less effort than to have bad posture. I mean, it's just the truth.
It truly is.
Because you're not having to overwork. It's a balanced muscle stabilization, right? I mean, you were talking about that with being able to do some things that just came that you hadn't in the past, right? Like, you want to talk about that?
I had a rehearsal, Sunday, that I was very tired. It was our 6th day of the week. It should be like an exhausted run that is usually it's very like plateaued, not really what you want to show an audience, but where you're pushing past your limit a little bit. And for some reason it was very easy and things happened that normally don't happen. And I was telling you that I did some surprising things and I don't know how, but I think that it has a lot to do with working more gyro.
Gyro. Yeah. Which has a very sort of like, I think it has a very freeing element to it. It has like a very like creating space and learning how to move in space and effortless, as well as Pilates. I mean, they both really do in different ways. And gyrotonic really, I would think that this would be a complement to, but not, like ballet is very linear, right? A lot of it.
I would more compare ballet with Pilates, but the spiral happens in what we call like the port-à-bras and the épalement and the breathing. So
it's in there.
It's in there, and it is very helpful if you can create that as your base for movement, as like what you're starting your movement with. But use the Pilates work to stabilize your core and be your own best partner.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. And what about you with the spiral action?
Well,
that's a big part, right?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about once we get on the gyrotonic table, so much of that overlaps with the actual golf swing. Like at some point you're both like extending and side bending at the same time. Then you're going into flexion, and then you're side bending to the other side as well throughout the golf swing. You're going back to the one side, and then it's just the inverse of the other side. And then the table also helps you with like the whole rhythm and flow of things. Incorporating your breath and making sure everything's kind of rhythmical and in some type of tempo, which I think kind of overlaps into the golf world too. So
I've always felt like it did.
yeah. It 100% does. So that's why I like the gyrotonic table every now and then as well.
Yeah, just the cross training again.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Have you guys had any experience with like injuries in your careers and how you've learned from them, maybe, or just things that have happened in your careers that have kind of been those moments, right? Those moments where you realize that you're going to survive them and you really want to do this. Like it's, you know what I mean? Because there must be it seems like when I talk to elite athletes, there is always that. There's always that, why do I really want to do this for these things that happen? I was curious.
I've been injured. I don't know about yourself, but I was struggling with like a lower back issue on my left side for, it's flared up a few times up until like the really big nexus point, but 4 years ago I had an incident in the gym doing something like very basic, like a step down from a box jump, and I herniated a disc, and then kind of went through every type of physical therapy and modality and soft tissue work just to try to remedy it.
And it's so hard on golfers to have those kinds of injuries. I mean, a lot of them do, but yeah. And
I tried everything, and I really think Pilates is something that really helped me get past my injury, and it will continue to help my longevity of my career as well. Just from the aspect of like being able to segment your spine individually and control every aspect of your movement, I think is very important for everyone, but also something that I'm doing on a daily basis. So it's this has been really helpful for my recovery and keeping my career together.
Yeah, good.
I don't have, knock on wood, I don't have a very like big specific injury. I have had several back spasms happen a lot, which the FST has helped with a lot.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that, have we? Stretch therapy,
right,
then there's that.
And misdiagnosis, which happens a lot. I think last year I had the thing going on with my knee. I still don't know exactly what it was, but we got it.
We figured out that it was an alignment.
Yeah.
Most likely, yeah. It was an alignment issue.
But I had gone to an orthopedic who wanted to tell me not to dance and probably do surgery, so didn't do
You
that.
had heard that before, hadn't you?
Yeah,
that you weren't
wasn't
really
the first
supposed
time.
to ever be a dancer. I remember you telling me that story.
Oh, I broke my ankle when I was 12.
There you go.
Around there's a big
Because we all do that. We're like, oh, and then there was that broken ankle. We all do that. Because we like to, like when you're 12, you just forget about what happened to you and you get up and you're like, just go, you're 12, right?
It was around the growth plate. So the doctors were telling me I probably wouldn't wouldn't grow enough. I probably had already grown enough. So. But
and what was your response to that?
I just didn't listen. And I fell in the pool 2 weeks before I was supposed to get my cast off. Might have been on purpose. And got walking again. So, yeah.
And in not listening, did that kind of light a fire for you? Just like for them to tell you that you weren't going to do this, like you just might as well not even think about it.
I just was like, you're wrong, but I don't know where that came from.
Well, I think it is what defines professionals from non-professionals, really, or elite from non-elite, is you don't take it, like you don't listen to that. You go game on. Like
well,
really,
it's like a form of rejection, and you have to leave. You have to.
Boy, is that part of dance, right?
Such a huge part.
It's such a huge part in golf.
Yeah, I don't win at all. I lose 99% of my battles.
Isn't that a lot? Yeah. Isn't that true in golf in general?
Yeah, there's a lot of losing in golf. Yeah, you miss cuts, you rarely win. So it's pretty much a rejection-based sport. And you know, call me a sadistic dude, but like I truly enjoy the game, and I think it motivates you to get better because like you're always trying to achieve this
Well, you have the
perfection.
same kind of attitude for sure, amazingly so.
Yeah.
More so than most golfers I've ever met, is you're just like, nope, it's great.
Yeah.
It's all great. It's going to get better. It's getting better all the time. I
That's all that matters.
Yeah, but hardly anybody like talks about golf like that, and I just think it's impressive.
Yeah, golf's non-linear. Like you're gonna kind of go up and down, up and down, up and down, but like the trajectory is still going up. But you know, you kind of gotta.
It's a long
Totally.
climb.
You gotta survive the
up the
setbacks,
stairs.
and if you can't handle rejection every now and then, you might as well quit. So because there's plenty of it in this sport and your sport too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Ballet's like that too. You take a few steps back, move forward,
Exactly.
do it a different way, come back.
Very competitive. Both
Very
of these.
competitive.
Both
And
of
against
these.
yourself. Like against other
Oh,
people, but against
well-
yourself.
Against yourself. Both of you, right?
Yeah, I gotta be my best motivator every now and then. Otherwise, you know, especially in the off season, you don't really have much to do, and it'd be pretty easy for me to just kind of sit on the couch and eat Cheetos all day. But you know, I'm down here and in the studio every now and then and hitting balls at Sawgrass, so you gotta kind of dig it out from inside.
Yeah.
I find that pretty fun.
Well, and you both are those people that really are self-care people. That's what I think. I mean, I find that that's a common theme for people that stick with these types of things, you know, is that it's just like, why wouldn't you, right? Like and that's why you're where you are, I think, in your sport, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because I do see a lot of different people along the way, and it's like there seems to be some common thread to that, and self-care. I mean, for sure.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I like the whole gyrotonic and Pilates just experience. I think a lot of it is from within. Like there's a certain aspect of the training where you definitely better yourself without like getting better physically though. You kind of figure out things
It's
about yourself.
the mental part, you mean?
Yeah, 100%.
The more intuitive, mental, what you can't really put your finger on sometimes.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah.
Just kind of exploring yourself and allowing yourself to be vulnerable in a space, and just opening up to different situations and new experiences. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I love it.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have anything else you want to add? Like if you were going to give advice to somebody who was in your sport, you know, and they were just like a newbie and they're coming along, and what are some of the most important points?
So when I first started to get in my journey down body work, I spent a lot of money on soft tissue work, you know, the typical massage, deep tissue, infrared therapy, a lot of passive techniques.
Yeah.
And what I've found in the last couple of years is I've pretty much spent $0 on those techniques now, and it's all gone to stuff in a gym like this. And
Okay.
I've found doing stuff in a Pilates studio is way more beneficial than anything else I've ever done. It's like it's everything jumbled into one, more or less.
You're kind of doing your own body work, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's way longer lasting, and you get much more bang for your buck. And
It's in your nervous system.
100%, and it's much more beneficial for me to. You probably get 10 times your investment compared to any type of soft tissue work, in my opinion. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wish I didn't share all my secrets, but there you go. Don't want people to get better. Shucks.
Except that you're such an unusual, like you have such a great heart. I do
Darn
think
it.
so. I know,
There go my
I'm sorry,
secrets.
Vince. But I've seen some people walk through here, trust me, and I always admire that about you. And I think, honestly, I believe that, you know, more is more. Like the more that, even if you give your secrets, it's like, and people copy you, it's got a compliment.
Yeah.
And it'll only benefit you in the end, because other people
Hopefully.
will give you their.
Still waiting.
No, I just, yeah,
I'm
right.
not gonna hold my breath.
Yeah, I think there's something universal about that.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
no, I do.
Hopefully one day.
Thank you for being you.
Sure.
Yeah, keep being you, Vince. Yeah, how about you, Morgan? What would you tell people?
I would say don't listen to bad advice.
So do you follow your heart?
Yes. And
Yeah.
also learn as much as you possibly can about everything that surrounds your sport. So for me, that was taking, anatomy, kinesiology,
Yeah, that is unusual.
music for dancers, just everything
Be
that
curious.
would slightly relates more in the long run, and will help you have that extra edge, I think. And then in terms of like body work and cross training, I think quality over quantity always. It's exactly what you said, like quality. You just do what feels good rather than, it doesn't always have to kick your butt at the end of the day.
Amazing concept, right? Absolutely amazing concept. Not very traditional fitness.
It doesn't have to be
concept.
painful. It should-
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even like fascial stretch therapy, you guys are participating in that. Like I love that too, because it's not just like, oh, you're just gonna lay on a table and I'm gonna fix you and then you're gonna go out and come back.
In 2 hours, it's going to be
It's
right
gonna
back
be
to
gone.
where it was.
It's like that is our intention. It's like we want to fill your body and your nervous system and your head with, because I'm not gonna see you guys all the time. Like I couldn't, there's only one of me and I can't be there. I can't be there when you're on the road and when you're dancing, and the more that you are that person who really is your own advocate, your own self body worker, it's like then we've done our job. That's how I feel about it anyway. So, well, maybe we'll do a little quick workout too. Just a quick little jump on the reformers or gyrotonic and
Sure, yeah.
play a little bit.
That
What do
sounds
you guys
fun.
say?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. So in conclusion, I hope you've really enjoyed hearing the stories of these amazing athletes and their journeys to be the very best in the world at what they do. If you're also looking to be the very best in the world at whatever your dream is, come see us. We'd love to see you. And so reach out to us and hopefully we'll see you soon.